You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Ticket Stub. Connor and Dick here on another beautiful Thursday here in Conroe. Excited to talk movies. Dick, how you doing, man?
Man, doing pretty good. I'm actually kind of nervous about this hurricane heading our way. If it's going to head our way, it's ruining my plans.
Yeah, what were your plans?
I had huge plans. I had the Mayweather fight lined up. I had a solid block of video game time with all my friends.
Well, why can that not happen still?
Because we do it in the same room now. We're having a little LAN party this weekend.
Dude, it's 2017. You don't need to be together ever.
But I want to be together forever.
Are you going to play like N64 or something?
No, we had a little StarCraft coming up our way. And then my buddy, I was going to see one of my friends play over there at the Armadillo Palace in downtown. So not really downtown.
You had a packed weekend. And
oh, yeah. And then they canceled that show, I fear the stupid storm.
Stupid Harvey.
Then, what's the deal with people freaking out about it up here? Because I'm pretty sure they haven't really projected too much.
I think it's just going to rain. Like a lot, but not like it's not going to be like murdering people with wind. I don't think, or any. I hope.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because it's like south of Houston that's going to be really bad.
Yeah, my buddy Chandler's freaking out. He's from Dallas, but he was coming down this weekend for the Coldplay concert, which is at NRG Stadium.
No, they're probably canceling that.
Well, they haven't yet, but he's like texting me like every 15 minutes, like trying to get the insider scoop and what's going on in the Houston area. I don't really have much info for him because I don't watch the news or keep up with anything. I just cross my fingers. I got a pack of bottled waters at the house, and that'll get me through till Wednesday.
Yeah, it's just that's what's going on with me though. I'm trying to figure out. My buddies are like, "Are you still coming down here?" I'm like, to be honest, if it rains and it
pours,
and I have to drive down there, probably not.
Yeah, well, hope everybody stays safe and dry. Hope maybe when you got a little downtime, maybe that'd be the perfect moment to catch up on Ticket Stub shows from the past that you haven't had a chance to listen to yet. When you're sitting at home and you can't have your nerdy LAN party with all your friends to play your stupid video games. But anyways, this is the Ticket Stub. Connor and Dick, we're excited to be here. Want to give you a quick rundown of what we're going to do today on this week's episode. We're going to talk movie news for a few minutes. Got a little something I thought was kind of interesting, a little bit ridiculous. Then we're going to rewind some movies we've seen from the previous week. We've got a special call-in with our friend of the show, Nick Howard. If you didn't hear Nick's episode, probably about 2.5 months ago now, you need to go check that one out. And maybe we can pull up exactly which episode that was here at the break before Nick comes on, so you can go listen to that. And we also have a grand ticket giveaway. This last week, we had something posted on our Facebook page. It was a little question about last week's show. Got a giveaway for that and a chance to win 2 more tickets to the Grand Theater in Conroe at the end of the show today. Dick, 2 tickets every week.
Yeah, it's going pretty well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's great. We got posters hanging up at the Grand. We got posters hanging up here at the station. You got some posters other places, right?
Yeah. If you want posters, contact the station or contact the Ticket Stub at theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. We can give you a cool little poster to hang up, anywhere.
Yeah, you can put it somewhere. Help us spread the word.
Put it in your bathroom.
That'd be a little bit of a weird spot. I don't know that would do a whole lot of.
It'd work.
Okay, yeah, maybe so. But anyways, you can spread the word. Tell your friends. That's the best way for us to get a little more traction out there. It's always fun. More people that listen, the better the conversation goes, and the more we can do and engage you guys. So that's what's coming up. Let's hop right in, though, Dick. Movie news, all right? ScreenRant.com, according to an article they posted this week, the Weinstein Company, which is like the mothership of all production companies in Hollywood, they've announced that they are rebooting The Knight Rider, which is what everybody was wanting.
They're rebooting something?
Yeah, and they're going to step out on a limb and try to reboot something.
You know what we should do? And this is, I thought of this. Sorry to interrupt that, but we should do the worst reboot ideas. And that's what we should be our next contest after next week, because next week's the Gods of Egypt. So maybe we can do that. We'll talk about that during the break. You think that's a good idea, though?
Yeah, I like the idea of
the worst reboot, like American History X. Let's reboot that.
Oh, like so not the worst one that they have done, but
no,
what would be the worst one to reboot?
We're okay, folks. We're gonna do it right now on the air.
Oh, we're making this up right now.
So we're making this up for the first week in, I guess, the next month of September. To win the tickets for the first week show in September. Basically, we're the executives, and you are the writer.
You're pitching us.
You're pitching us the next reboot, but it has to be awful. It has to be an awful idea.
So something that has no business being remade.
Yes.
Either because A, it was so terrible, or B, maybe just like American History X. That would just be like a weird one.
Yeah, that'd be why?
That might be topical to remake right about now.
Yeah, true.
With all the neo-Nazi stuff going on. But okay, so
like Battlefield Earth.
I never saw that. Is that John Travolta?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never
we should
saw
definitely remake that one.
He's weird. All right. Anyways, so really stepping out of form, Weinstein Company is rebooting The Knight Rider. If people don't remember, that was the David Hasselhoff 80s TV show where his car named Kit could talk to him, and together they like solved crime.
It was a good show. They had that. They actually remade it for TV for a little bit.
It only lasted like a season, I think, or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good.
It wasn't very good.
Yeah, not very popular. To be honest, I'm not sure I've ever seen an episode of the original Knight Rider.
I have. It was good.
Yeah, was it good?
Well, it was very. It had a great episodes, so
Okay.
it was very entertaining. Each episode has very entertaining angle to it.
Definitely
But,
like serialized where each one stands alone.
Yeah, it's kind of like MacGyver.
Yeah.
MacGyver is very entertaining because every episode is a little different, and you're like, "What the heck is going on in this show?"
Okay, well, let's just talk a little bit about the cast that they're targeting. No, this is still early in advance, so they may end up doing this, and it may not have these people. But they're targeting to play Michael Knight, which was previously David Hasselhoff, John Cena. Dick, what do you think about okay? So John Cena's been in some really, really, really terrible movies. That Marine one, I think, is what my friend forced me to watch that one time. Have you seen that?
See, what's funny? Yes, I have seen the Marine.
Because that's your movie.
I have seen the Marine. I'm trying to think. This weekend I watched. I wanted to say it wasn't really a movie I watched, but it's Tour de Pharmacy on HBO.
I've heard about that.
He's in it.
What?
And he is hilarious in it.
Like, what's his role?
So the premise of the movie, it's supposed to be like a Fox documentary. So it's not. It's not like a full
Fox documentary
or Fox documentary.
Okay.
Sorry,
Faux?
I wanted to say
curse
word.
You're trying to say the F word?
No, I did say F word. I said Fox.
Okay.
Fox documentary. Basically, what it is, they're talking about the Tour de France from like 1970 something, and they're all replaying what happened. And so they have young actors playing the young versions, and then they have old actors playing the old version. So Dolph Lundgren's character, when he remembers, it's John Cena.
Okay.
So John Cena plays, and it is a whole. I really enjoyed it. It was actually a nice length of it, so it wasn't too long. And some of the stuff, there's a scene where they have a fight, and John Cena picks up a naked dude, and it's like he's above his head doing a little bit of I don't know what the maneuver's called, but the wrestling move.
Oh yeah.
But it has this man naked next to his naked parts next to his face, and I was like, yeah, there's that caliber right there. That Academy Award winner John Cena coming soon.
Yeah. What was okay? So this Tour de Pharma was one in kind of because didn't Andy Samberg do one where he was a tennis player?
Yes, so it's following that kind of thing where
Okay.
it's like I think it's about 50 minutes, 40 minutes.
So John Cena was in that. I didn't know that. He was in that movie The Wall, I think, that came out last year that had Aaron Taylor Johnson, where they were the Marines. And
Yeah, sniper.
I actually heard that was pretty good.
He wasn't bad. This movie, I mean, he wasn't bad in it. He was funny.
Well, they've cast him, they're targeting him to play Michael Knight, and then to play Kit, which is the talking car. Basically, any voiceover work is contractually obligated to go to Kevin Hart, I think, at least first right of refusal. But they are targeting Kevin Hart to play Kit, which is the car.
They'll make these horrible decisions.
It's so bad. That's so bad.
That's almost like our listeners submitting for the ticket win. We should remake Knight Rider with these two people, and I'd be like, yeah, that might win the tickets because that sounds horrible.
It sounds so bad that it might be made up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dick, is there any chance that this movie could be good? How could they take this kernel, Knight Rider with John Cena and Kevin Hart? What could they do to make it good?
Put Daniel Day-Lewis in it.
What is he like? What would he do in this movie?
He at least brings it to an equal. Like it might be.
Like, how could he possibly exist?
He could be the bad guy.
So you want to have John Cena and Kevin Hart fighting Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah.
Would he be playing it like straight, like a bad guy?
I don't know what he would be doing, but he'd be bringing a little bit more respect to the film.
Well, first off, there's no way he would ever do this.
Why not?
Daniel Day-Lewis, why would he not do Knight Rider with John?
Probably has always wanted to work with Kevin Hart. Like, who doesn't want to work with Kevin Hart?
The only movies he does, like one movie every 2.5 years, and it's like the most serious, like dramatic thing of all time.
Well, what you try to do as a writer, you try to combine every character actor Daniel Day-Lewis has played into one embodiment of a person. So put him in a wheelchair, give him the mustache from There Will Be Blood. What else can he do? What other movies can he be in? Just one character.
Yeah, it could be just top hat, Abraham Lincoln top hat. I don't know. That seems like that would make it even worse. Maybe, I don't know. I was asking you how to make it better, but that might be the one way that it could even take it to a new level of nonsensicalness. I just made that word up. But anyways, I don't. The whole reboot thing is wearing me out. And I know we were joking about it earlier, but that's why the movies that I don't know the movies.
That's why Netflix is there, and that's why I think they were reporting the summer blockbuster has gone down, double digits from last year.
What do you mean double digits in what?
Revenue, movie theaters.
Well, it's probably it's because they're all just sequels. They're all reboots. Or they're all remakes, and people want new stuff.
But John Cena, I think he's a good actor. I think he'd be very entertaining.
Really?
I think he might be the new Arnold. Probably have more comedy aspects too, because he actually can speak English well.
But that was kind of part of Arnold's accidental comedy.
Well, I know, but it just depends on where you want to put him. Because him and The Rock, I can see them competing in those kind of roles, even though The Rock has been more established. But there's only so much The Rock can do. Work-wise.
Have you seen that commercial?
Yeah.
That's exactly what the commercial. And he's like, "Oh yeah." I don't know. The Rock is at the next level. I think he's going to branch out from acting here pretty soon and start moving on to either maybe politics or maybe sports ownership or I don't know. I can see him branching out. But you know who, in the same kind of vein as John Cena, who I really think who I want to see more of is Dave Bautista, because he was in the two Guardians movies, and man, he made me laugh in those. No, he was in something else that looked like garbage.
No, he was actually. I'm looking up right now what movie he is currently in. There's a small budget movie called Bushwick coming out, and it's kind of like a Red Dawn, but with two people instead of young kids. And he plays one of the characters going through the town trying to survive the invasion or the terror. I don't know what the complete plot is, but it looked good. I heard it's a good small budget movie, but I don't know if that's coming out. But I do want to let people know, talking about closing out this segment with John Cena, I was watching Special Victims Unit with my girlfriend, and I want you guys to do me a favor.
Is your girlfriend 70?
No, I
thought only 70.
That is probably the only show we can come to quick agreement on, that we can watch something if we just need to watch something real quick. If she needed, should we want to relax, just put something on. I like Ice-T a lot, and when I get to watch Ice-T, I get relaxed.
Have you heard do you listen to John Mulaney?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that's like somebody who ate too many chocolate cupcakes? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, anyway, we're watching. I want you guys who are listening to this, look up Delaney Williams. It's an actor. He played one of the prosecutors, or one of the lawyer people that was a guest lawyer. This dude, I thought it was John Cena's dad. The way he spoke, the way he looked. And it's a little uncanny that he's not John Cena's dad or uncle or something. Because I'm not kidding you. Look it up. It's Delaney Williams. Throughout the whole episode, I couldn't stop laughing, because this episode actually had some good actors in it, and I was laughing because I was like, I can't get over what's happening right now, because it looks like John Cena is prosecuting these people, and it had some other.
I think it's the eyes, maybe. I'm looking at pictures.
You gotta watch him on YouTube, or watch the scenes he's in, because he looks like John Cena. He acts like John Cena. But yeah, so I just want to let people know. But we do have to take a break right now. You are listening to The Ticket Stub here on irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. What's coming up on the next segment? Because I know we have a special guest later.
Yeah, we have a special guest in the third segment, but coming up next, we're going to rewind.
Rewind. Yes, perfect. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Ticket Stub.
Hey guys, I'm Joey Savage.
Corey DLG.
We are Nerd Thug Radio. Catch us every Monday from 1 to 3 and check out our website, nerdthugradio.com.
We like to talk about quilting, horseback riding, and baking quiche.
Actually, we don't, but we do like talking nerdy to you.
That's right. Every Monday from 1 to 3 p.m., hashtag talking nerdy to you.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That's Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on the computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. A Lone Star Community Radio. Broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
And we're back. Connor and Dick here. We are going to spend some time rewinding the movies that we've seen last week. Dick, I've actually seen 3, but I'm going to push 1 until Nick comes on. We'll hear a little bit later on.
What movies did you see?
Well, I saw Logan Lucky.
Okay.
I saw Hitman's Bodyguard,
Okay.
and I saw a little movie called Devil's Candy. That's the movie we talked about with Nick last time he was on. But I'm going to wait to talk about that until we can talk a little about Nick. What about you?
I saw Inner Space, the movie I told you about, the Dennis Quaid 1988 film produced by Steven Spielberg and directed by the dude who did Gremlins.
He actually took notes this time, so he's like trying to overcompensate by like saying every fact he can.
Well, no, that is very true. I was interested in this movie because I saw it a long time ago, but then as I kept reading about it and doing notes, it's actually an interesting movie because it had a lot of big players involved.
Okay. Well, hey, tease that a little bit. I'll go first, then you, then
yeah.
me. That way they don't have to listen to me talk for like 10 straight minutes.
Oh, I forgot to mention it's an Academy Award winning Inner Space.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. So tease.
Such a tease. All right, but before we do that, we want to take care of some business so that when Nick comes on, we don't forget and push this off to the last minute. Our grand ticket giveaway. Last week we asked you to name the movie that we talked about during the show, which was made for a budget of $300,000 and grossed $47 million. We had a couple people guess correctly, but the first guess, the quickest guess, was by Amanda Smith for correctly guessing Halloween, which was the right movie. So good job, Amanda. You're going to get those tickets. And for next week, the way you can win tickets next week is that we are going to be doing a review. Me and Dick are going to be reviewing Gods of Egypt in our Bad Movie of the Month.
Yeah, everyone needs to check that movie out. It is worth the rental fee, but the one thing I would highly advise is just get through it. Don't watch it in segments. Just get through it because I think it's fairly short and it's quite rewarding.
Yeah, and so Gods of Egypt, our Bad Movie of the Month, and then you can post either on our Facebook or you can do it Twitter. I really want to push people towards our Twitter because I want to start using that more, but until we get our little follower base up a little higher, it's not doing a lot of good. So follow at _ticket stub, and you can tweet at us those things as well if you don't. A lot of people don't use Facebook as much anymore, or a lot of younger people don't, so you can do Twitter as well.
And special thanks to the Grand.
Yes, special thanks to the Grand for giving us those tickets to give away. Chris, the Grand, we love you guys. I was there last night. Always a great experience at the Grand. Of Conroe. All right, first movie up for me, Logan Lucky. This was 2017, PG-13, hour and 58 minutes. In theaters right now, directed by Steven Soderbergh, who did all the Oceans movies, and he's done a lot of other things as well. Starring Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig, Katie Holmes is in this as well. The IMDb plot, there's two blue-collar, down-on-their-luck brothers who attempt a heist during a NASCAR race in North Carolina. So let me just tell you off the bat, Dick. This probably jumped into my top 3 of the summer, maybe my top 5 of the year movies so far in 2017 that I've seen. I loved this movie. I'm not sure that critically, I don't know if critically it's going to be reviewed and received quite as well. In fact, I'm not even sure what the Rotten Tomatoes is. Maybe you can look that up for me here. I guarantee it's fresh, but I don't know if it's probably not 90% or 95%. But I loved this movie. It felt very similar. No, Soderbergh did all the Oceans movies, and this felt like that in a way. But it wasn't casino based. The Oceans movies are all like, the glamour of Las Vegas and everything. This is like hillbillies in North Carolina, West Virginia. So it's a little different feel to it, but definitely great. One of the things that, but it had even more laughs than Oceans. And there was a twist at the end. I don't want to say anything about more than that, but I wasn't really expecting it. Kind of caught me off guard. I'm going to admit to you, Dick, I love Channing Tatum. I love Channing Tatum in movies. Okay. Now I never saw his stripper movies. I didn't see those ones because that felt a little weird. But I like him in pretty much everything he's been in. He makes me laugh. I think he's maybe not a great technical actor, but he's enjoyable. And I think he was great in this movie. And then Adam Driver. Do you know much about Adam Driver? Have you seen many of his films?
Yeah.
I think he is kind of a sleeper, awesome actor, in my opinion. Like a lot of people know him from Star Wars because that's what he was in that went really, really big. But I've seen him in Girls, the TV show. I've seen him in Llewyn Davis. He was in what I thought was a really good movie with Ben Stiller called While We're Young. He's been in some other things as well. But both these guys, I think he was acted very well. Daniel Craig is in this in a hilarious role where he plays this his name is he's like the Bang guy or something Bang. I forget his first name, but he's the explosions expert, and he's got bleach blonde hair, and it's funny, great action. It's fun. It's lighthearted. I'll tell you the one part that I didn't like. The one thing I didn't like about this movie was that Seth MacFarlane was in it. Not that I don't like Seth MacFarlane, because I mostly like him, but he was kind of like a little bit of a villain, not the main villain, but kind of a side villain. And he had like curly permed hair and a mustache, and he talked in like a weird accent. And he was the owner of this energy drink company that was sponsoring one of the NASCAR drivers. And man, it totally took me out of it. It totally took me out of it as I was watching. The whole time I was thinking like, what? Is that Seth MacFarlane? Like, why is Seth MacFarlane in this? You know, I don't know. I feel like that probably wasn't what they were going for. I think he was added in there because they thought it was going to be real funny. But for me, it was mostly distracting. Overall, it's a great movie. I'd give it, I don't know, between 4 and 4.5 stars on my personal Connor rating system.
Out of 5?
Out of 25. Yeah, it's really bad. No, out of 5.
I'm just
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, Logan Lucky, it's in theaters now. I'd recommend, if you don't have a chance to go to the theaters, or if you do go to the theaters, this is definitely one to see. If not, as soon as it becomes available either on Redbox or streaming services, this is one that's worth a date night. I think guys and girls alike would both like this.
Because Jason Tatum, what was his name? Chandler Tatum.
Okay.
All right, Inner Space. Basically, this movie, 1987 movie, it won an Oscar for Best Special Effects. It is directed by Joe Dante. It's available on Netflix. Joe Dante is a really well-known kind of like late 70s, early 80s scary movie. He did Gremlins and things like that. So he's well aware of the special effects. One thing that I love about this movie is it incorporates a lot of actors that are soon to be famous and then were famous, and then people who just generally are industry norm people. Dennis Quaid plays Lieutenant Duck Pendleton, and Martin Short plays Jack Putter, and Meg Ryan plays Dennis Quaid's little interest. And then you have a slew of great actors that support the whole time. If you just look at the cast list on IMDb, you kind of recognize everybody from somewhere, someplace.
Yeah, it's a lot of like, that guy. Oh, that guy.
Not a side interest is 6 of these actors have been on Star Trek. So that's what kind of like, I go, oh, I know that guy, I know that guy, I know that guy. But anyway, the movie itself has a lot of Spielberg-esque adventure to it. The pseudoscience to it doesn't really make a lot of sense, and it makes it hilarious. The whole premise of the movie basically is Dennis Quaid plays a down-and-out pilot who can't really fly anymore. He has a drinking problem, and somehow he gets involved in a secret experiment to pilot a submarine kind of ship that is was supposed to be downsized and injected into a bunny. Well, and there was,
why were they wanting to do that?
Because they wanted to see, do tests.
What's
and
on
things,
the inside of the bunny?
What's on the inside and all that kind of stuff. Well, of course, someone sabotages in the middle of the experiment downsizing, and he inadvertently gets put into Martin Short, who plays a cashier at a grocery store. One thing I want to ask the folks who lived in the 80s is how much cashiers got paid, because there's a whole story arc about his anxiety. You get introduced to Martin Short because he has high anxiety, and his doctor goes, go on a cruise. So somehow he's able to pay for a cruise as a cashier at a grocery store. And you learn a lot about Martin Short through his interactions at the grocery store and whatnot. I would say overall the movie was very entertaining. It wasn't as tight as some Spielberg movies are. It lost its rails kind of throughout the movie because it was just too ridiculous.
Wait, did you say this is a Spielberg movie? Or
he produced it.
Oh, okay.
He produced it. So, like I said, it has that kind of adventure quality to it where you're just kind of like, this is fun. There's a lot of fun things. One thing that annoyed the hell out of me in this movie was the Sam Cooke song "Twistin' the Night Away" is played probably 5 times in this movie. 2 of them are dance numbers almost, where it's like Dennis Quaid is getting drunk and dancing with Meg Ryan, and then he again is dancing with Martin Short while inside Martin Short, and he plays the music so Martin Short hears it, but no one else around him can hear it. It's kind of like
so basically they like got the rights to that song
and
just
like,
we're going with it.
They milked it. Some interesting things. Like I said, it won an Academy Award. The director almost didn't direct this movie. He might have been directing Batman, which is pretty interesting. And this is one of the rarest VHS releases to be widescreen back in the 80s. So this movie was released in widescreen format originally, which is different from, if you remember back in the VHS days, it was all 4:3 resolution.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing about the movie, Mel Gibson and Robin Williams were considered for the part of Jack Putter, which Martin Short played.
I can see that. The neurotic kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so overall, the movie itself, it's on Netflix. You can watch it. It was funny, and then some of the stuff was just so overdone. It had a great 80s feel to it.
Okay.
So I would definitely recommend it if you want to see an 80s sci-fi fun adventure film.
And it's not interspace, it's inner space.
Interspace.
Inner space.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, the other movie I saw this week was Hitman's Bodyguard, in theaters now, rated R, hour 58. Directed by Patrick Hughes, who did The Expendables 3, starring Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, and Gary Oldman. Basically, Ryan Reynolds is like a bodyguard for good and bad guys alike, but he's kind of the best in the world. And then he falls down on his luck. Samuel L. Jackson is a hitman who's going to testify at the International Court of Justice against Gary Oldman, who's like the president of some Eastern European former Soviet country. And he's like committing all these atrocities and stuff. Gary Oldman, not in the movie a ton. Samuel L. Jackson and the F word are featured very prominently in this movie. They take very loose, reins with their language, and it kind of becomes a recurring joke, in fact, that Samuel L. Jackson has almost ruined the F word, and Ryan Reynolds is like, I didn't know that was possible, but you've done it, because he says it so much. This movie was, after saying all that, this is like the kind of movie that me and my dad both love the movies. In fact, I think I got my love for movies from him, but this is his exact kind of like meant for him movie. In fact, he texted me about it after he saw it, about how much he loved it. It's like all action, 100%, shooting, explosions, gag, explosion, gag, car chase, joke, shooting scene, all that stuff over and over again. The plot was a little bit silly. It was like the whole plot was them trying to get to this international court, and everywhere they went, the henchmen were there trying to kill them and stop them. And it's like, at one point I was like, why didn't they just take a helicopter? Because they were there with Interpol at one point. Like, they have unlimited resources. Why not just like helicopter them there instead of drive on all these dangerous roads?
Wouldn't that make you more vulnerable though?
Apparently not, because everywhere they drove, it was one of those movies where they would escape the bad guys, and then 30 seconds later, the bad guys are like, oh, we dinged him on this road. Okay, now we're back after him again. It's like, I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to, once you were away, to be hidden for a little while. But anyways, the plot was a little bit silly, but that wasn't the main point. The main point was the fun and the action. Some of the jokes didn't land with me that much. I do always like Ryan Reynolds. I do. Samuel Jackson, he's good. He kind of wore me down by the end of this. I was a little bit over him. And again, this movie had a very fatal flaw, which is Salma Hayek was in it and was terrible, in my opinion. She was Samuel L. Jackson's wife, and she was in prison the whole movie. And I think in her head, she was like killing it. Like, she was she was cussing a lot. She was being real crass. She was being real terrible. She was yelling a lot. It's a lot of that. She was supposed to be this kind of like bad to the bone girl, but man, it was unbearable for me. Like, this, every scene was just her sitting in her cell, just like yelling at the guards. And then she had this little cellmate that she would make stand in the corner, this kind of overweight girl. And like every time it would be Salma, and then it would pan to the girl in the corner, and she would like look over her shoulder, and Salma would go, I didn't tell you could look. And then it'd be like, all right, next scene. I think you're supposed to like really laugh hard there, but I didn't. For me, this is right down the middle action movie. Not great, not bad. If you want like a brainless action flick, this is perfect, and exactly, I think it delivers on that. It's got a couple laughs, and it's enough there to definitely be entertaining. I would say this would definitely be one you could wait until it's streaming on Netflix, HBO, Amazon, wherever it finds itself. But Hitman's Bodyguard, good action flick. And so if that sounds like something you want, definitely check it out.
All right, that's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like that movie, they had a lot of loose writing to it, making fun of itself and having. Yeah,
they definitely. It was self-deprecating in some ways.
And Patrick Hughes, that was the director.
Patrick Hughes, yeah.
Yeah, he directed Expendables 3.
Expendables 3, I said that.
Yeah. I know. I was listening.
Oh, okay.
I just repeated myself to cover it up. But we got to take a break with the Ticket Stub right now.
We do.
Yeah. Who do we have next?
When we come back on, we're going to have Nick Howard, and we're going to talk a little bit with him about the film industry, about what's going on in Texas right now. He's got a couple tales from the set with us, and we're going to talk Devil's Candy when we come back.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question, comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station on irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
Begin.
And we're back on the Ticket Stub. We just did our rewind with some movies that we saw last week. We've already talked about some movie news. And now we've got on the phone with us Nick Howard. Nick, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, y'all.
Yeah, great to have you. So I looked it up. It was June 22nd, episode 9 that we had Nick on last time. And that was kind of our first look with him. We had a good interview and got to talk really in depth with Nick. So if you didn't get to hear that, we actually even did a special podcast extension with Nick that episode. If you haven't heard that, I'd really recommend you go and listen to that because we heard some really great stuff from him about his work in the film industry. He told us all about what it is he does and how it is, or how he found his way to that and everything like that. And so what we're going to talk about a little today is we're just going to check in with Nick. I think he's got some tales from the set, or hopefully a story or two he can tell us from life in the film industry. And we're going to talk a little bit about Devil's Candy because I saw that this week, Nick. But is everything going good with you?
Yeah, everything's going good, man. Just getting ready for a fantasy football draft, ready for McGregor to pull a little Angels in the outfield move with Mayweather this weekend, and getting ready for Hurricanes. So,
dude, sounds like a yeah, really, really, really busy, man, really busy. In fact, I was in Vegas last week. I put $5 on McGregor, and it's going to pay out like 8-1 or 5-1, I think. So I've got some vested stake in that as well. But
yeah, we have a big pool bet going on it, so we're hoping.
Yeah. Anyways, well, great. Okay, so a lot of personal stuff going on. Is there anything happening in the film world with you right now?
Well, we're all just kind of getting ready for the Sun, that Pierce Brosnan TV show from AMC, coming back next month. So we're all just kind of, getting everything ready and talking about it and getting ready to start shooting.
All right. So when you say getting ready, like what do you mean by that?
Well, it's a lot of getting together all your tools, cleaning everything up, getting it ready, talking to your buddies and talking to your wife, planning the next 6 months without you, and
getting that Uber Eats set for like auto reload.
Absolutely, yeah, getting a lot of Hunger Man meals. But a lot of projects that because a lot of the stuff that we do, we custom make. So
really?
A new tool cabinet, something that I'm currently working on, so I can go into the shop with my tools a little bit more efficiently than I did last year. Now that I know the layout of the shop and stuff like that, just kind of building stuff to help you out for 6 months.
Nick, you need to make a movie at some point about like a special, like an effects guy. And then you need to have this scene be like the montage where, the army people are like putting the guns in their, or the bullets in their clip and stuff. But instead it's just you like, packing things of blood and making custom sized cabinets and everything like that. All right. So
doing massive bulk laundry.
Doing what?
Doing lots of laundry.
Do you have to pack like bags to go? Like, when you're on set, are you taking like a bag with you all the time? Or are you always having to have clothes?
Yeah, I take what's called an on-set bag. Everybody.
Why do they call it that, Nick?
I'm sorry.
Why do they call it an on-set bag?
Well, it's just what it's.
I'm just kidding.
Clothes,
yeah.
Anything rain gear, jacket, boots, different kind of like personal stuff. Hammocks for lunch break, or long-term, like, if you get stuck out there for a long time or something like that, some the deodorant, just necessities kind of stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to be all stanky. I totally get that.
Yeah, it's kind of an emergency grab bag kind of deal.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Nick, I want to hop. We talked about maybe having a story or two from the set, not necessarily from maybe the last thing you've worked on, but just in general. After we did the interview with you last time, when we were off air, we still had you on the phone line, and you started telling some stories of just some different interactions you'd had with some celebrities or just different kind of crazy things that had happened. So do you have a story that would like a pretty, like maybe a cool one or an interesting one or a funny one that you could tell everybody?
Yeah. You know, I've been lucky enough to work with some pretty notable people that are pretty down to earth. They're the guy who plays Hank from Breaking Bad, Dean Norris.
Yeah.
I did a movie with him and Adam Sandler, and we were both at the crafty area, which is kind of like the snack area, getting coffee. And Dean Norris kind of struck up a conversation. He's like, you know, just, hey, how's it going? And I was like, oh, you know, it's going great. You know, I'm in the middle of Breaking Bad, so I'm you know, really into to Dean Norris and all that. And I was like, hey, I just wanted to say that I'm a huge fan of yours. You know, big fan of your stuff in Breaking Bad. But your favorite role, I bet you never heard anybody say this, but my favorite role that you're in is in Predator 2 as SWAT guy number 2. He's one of the SWAT members in this huge shootout scene, and he's like, that's when he was like a no-name guy, and he just started cracking up laughing. He's like, I have never heard anybody say that, and you know, we just kind of had a good laugh about it, because I mean, I'm a huge Predator fan, so there's not much that gets past me with that.
How did you even know that was him? Like, I get that you're a huge fan, but like, you just have watched it 100 times, and one time you were finally like, oh, dude, that's Dean Norris.
Danny Glover looks over across from like a burning car to shout something at, you know, SWAT man number 1 who has a line, and Dean Norris is behind that guy and like, you know, looks like petrified about what's going on.
So he doesn't he doesn't have a line?
No, doesn't have a line. I just saw his face, and then he has like another moment where they're kind of like busting in the building. But yeah, so he was really great. Pierce Brosnan is like one of my favorite people now, because the thing that he wants to be most is a Texan.
Really?
Yeah, the Sun, he's all about it, because he's, you know, the concept behind the Sun is Pierce Brosnan plays like the first son of the Republic of Texas, and but other than that, he legitimately just wants to be a Texan. When he flew down the first time that he came to set, he showed up in a, I'm not joking, 10-gallon gray cowboy hat. You know,
he was fitting in.
These big cowboy boots, Levi jeans, and then the shirt, Black's Barbecue Lockhart barbecue shirt tucked into his jeans, and said howdy to every single person in the crew. And we were talking to his driver, because he's a buddy of ours, and we're like, you know, how is he and all that? And he's like, oh, he's great. He got out of the airport and said, I want to go eat real Texas barbecue. He's like, take me to go eat some real Texas barbecue. And the guy's like, well, it's like an hour away. He's like, fine, that's it. I want to get some real Texas barbecue, and I want a real Texan hat, and I want some Texas boots. So that was immediately what he did off the plane coming from Europe.
Oh my goodness.
And he just loved it. He always was talking to everybody that he could find on the crew that was a local Texan. Wanted to talk about their childhood growing up in Texas, and stuff like that. He's funny, because he's like, you know, I'm just an Irishman. You know, we just get drunk and sad. Texans are so lively. They're so full of life. Everything's so lively. And we were shooting next to a river. There's this gorgeous like bend in the river, and water moss can swim across it. And he's like, my God, it's a snake, you know, and everybody's kind of, well, you know, looking at the snake and stuff like that. And I had just happened to be next to him, and he goes, beautiful little river, and you just walk down in there, think you're going to have a swim, and nope, water moss. Poisonous snake. Horrifying. I was like, yeah, you know, but there's also, you know, alligator snapping turtles in there too, which are pretty terrifying. He goes, my God, what is an alligator snapping turtle? And I was like, well, it's a huge turtle that, you know, bites your finger off. And he's like, my God, is there anything in the state that won't kill you? And but he did. He loved being a Texan and being in Texas, and he's like one of my new favorite people.
That's hilarious. And so that show's about to come back. So you're about to get to spend some time with him again.
Yeah, we were shooting it this time last year in the dead of summer, but he got so hot that he was like, no, I'm not shooting it again in summer. He's like, we can shoot it starting in October.
So when you're the big name star of a show, you get to kind of, like, I guess he has the power to move the shoot around to where we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, it's not always like that, but when 007 says he's not working in the heat, and AMC's like, well, if you're not working in the heat, then, you know. So
what would happen if Nick Howard was like, I'm not working in this heat anymore?
They'd go find Nick Howard #2, you know, Louisiana or something like that.
Yeah, maybe you're not quite the 007 status yet for the necessity of the film. Yeah. Maybe one day. Well, Nick, I got a chance to see Devil's Candy. I actually finished watching. I had to watch it in 2 parts, but I watched the end of it last night. And Dick didn't get the chance to, wished he had. But I do want to talk to you a little bit about it, because last time you came on, we talked about Devil's Candy, and you were recommending that to us. I think you said it was like the only thing that you've worked, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you talked about it as being maybe, I'll say, one of the few projects that you've worked on that you actually like really enjoy watching. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a few projects that I've done that I've enjoyed working on. I don't actually watch a lot of the stuff I do. I don't, you know, it's just a mix between not having enough time and it's so monotonous on set. What you see when you sit down and watch it, you don't want to see it again. But yeah, Devil's Candy is one of the few projects that I am very proud of. And it's something I recommend to everybody because I legitimately think it's a really good story.
Yeah. So I watched it on Netflix. You know, I'm going to be totally honest. First off, I'm not a huge horror guy. We talked about scary movies last week on our show, and I think Dick and I both kind of share that feeling that horror is not our number one genre by far. And so, you know, it looked pretty independent from just the picture and reading a little bit about it and seeing who was all part of it. So I had a little bit low expectations going in. I was really just going in only with your recommendation of it. Sure. And as I watched it, I found myself really, it's a little bit disturbing in some ways, you know, but really a good movie though. I mean, I'll agree with you on that. I think this is a really good movie, and it definitely deals with some pretty intense issues. So the IMDb, what they would use is the plot summary. It says a struggling painter is possessed by satanic forces after he and his young family move into their dream home in rural Texas in this creepy haunted house tale. And
it's horrible. What a horrible description for that story.
Not super great, huh? Because the one thing I do want to, so the Ethan Embry plays the dad and the painter. They do move into this house that seems to have a kind of a weird history behind it. And his painting, one of the things I did like was the way they used him as a painter. And the paintings he would make, it kind of showed a change over time in his character, and it kind of showed like the growth of evil that was happening in him. And it was a little bit, disturbing, because as he got more almost possessed, his painting career started to really take off because people were responding to the stuff he was painting. But anyways, one of the things that I was a little bit, I guess, curious about was that him being possessed played a big part in it, but then towards the end, did I miss it, or I felt like they kind of walked away from that? I don't know. Well, help me with that.
The way I always looked at it, and the way that the director kind of approached it while we were filming, was that, kind of yin yang kind of deal, where the main villain of it, he is kind of the embodiment of evil, and he's kind of possessed by this evil presence.
Dude, Ethan Embry. The evil guy was creepy. Yeah. AF. All right. I don't know if I can say that on the radio, but he was so creepy.
Yeah, he's pretty crazy. But Ethan Embry was more motivated by the children's spirits and good spirits, painting through the eyes of the demonic spirit, kind of deal, like their experiences, what was next, so he could stop him. And I think the ending has a lot to show about that. It's a shockingly because this guy, he did The Loved Ones, which is incredible, but none of his stuff particularly supernatural or religious, and this one has a lot of those kind of tones to it, which I thought was a really cool little change of pace for him. But yeah, that's how I always thought was Ethan Embry was kind of the good force against the evil, the anti-hero, if you will.
Yeah.
That was kind of stuck in the middle.
Yeah, one of the things I really liked about this is the way that it lived. I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but it lived in reality in terms of how the characters interacted with each other and how the action and really how some of the kind of horror elements went down. It was, there was like this element of supernatural happening, but the way that the characters acted are how people who don't know how to handle weapons would act with a weapon, or the way that, if you weren't, I don't know. That's one thing in movies that loses me sometimes is it'll just be some dad from small town Texas. And then when the burglar comes in, all of a sudden he's an expert with like the bat, and he can like disarm a villain instantly and then, beat him down. It's like, how would he know how to do that? And so one of the things, even the way the creepy guy, the creepy character at one point, and I need to look up his name to know what it is. I'm not just calling him the creepy character.
I used to know it.
It's Ray Smiley. So as the character named Ray is carrying the gun at one point, he's holding it like right up against his chest, and almost like he doesn't know what it really is or how to work it. And I think that's really effective. The way that, just the way that they all interact, whether it's trying to escape, whether it's trying to, disarm, whether it's trying to hurt someone, it's all done what I feel like is really genuinely in the way it would probably happen when people who don't know what they're doing find themselves in these situations.
Yeah. And something I think really is unique about it is the family. I think that's a young family that we haven't really seen in movies a whole lot, that I see all the time here in Austin, kind of a young parents, punk rockers and metal guys, and, really, really great parents with a lot of character to them, instead of seeing, the same suburban household that, half of us didn't grow up in, or the other half of us aren't interested in watching. I think it's really great to have parents and have something in common with their kids and be really great parents. And, I think the family aspect of it is something that I really enjoy, that I don't think many other movies have.
Yeah, just because they had tattoos and liked hard rock didn't mean that they were like, terrible people or anything like that. And they definitely did, they were flawed characters, but they definitely cared. The relationship between the father and daughter is a really compelling part of this movie, where there's definitely love there. But then, there's also moments where maybe, the father gets caught up in some other things and isn't fulfilling his duties. And but then you see the real emotion in those moments as well. The evil guy, Ray Smiley, who we talked about this a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, but Human Centipede 2, which is like the worst movie you could ever watch in the entire world. Did you ever see that, Nick?
No, I did not.
Yeah,
I went through the first one.
No, you're missing out, man. That's the best one.
Oh, Dick's back.
Out of all the peds.
Out of all the peds. Of all three peds, number 2 is no, it's the worst movie I've ever seen. But the bad guy in Devil's Candy, Ray Smiley, he reminds me of the main villain in Human Centipede 2, just in the way that he is like creepy beyond creep. There's one scene where he has captured someone and he's about to potentially harm them, and you just watch him as he's like taking his little tracksuit off, and he's all dirty and gross. It's really effective filmmaking in my opinion, but it's really disturbing to watch. And so, anyways, I thought it was good.
Pruitt Taylor Vince. I had to look it up. I couldn't remember, but and he's also the psychic from that movie Constantine with
he plays the preacher. He plays the
Father Hennessy.
Yeah, he's a really he has a presence about it. He's a very method actor and kind of stayed in character the whole time. It was very very uneasy being around.
Wow. I also kind of feel bad, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's a super great guy or whatever, but they were trying to cast a creepy looking dude. And so if you're the guy who's like the creepy looking, I don't know, I just like bummer in real life. I guess you have a career as an actor, but sorry, you have to be creepy looking.
If I got to look weird to make that kind of money, that's fine with me.
Whatever it takes. All right, Nick. Well, we're about to have to wrap up here. I just want to ask: is there a really good movie you've seen lately? Like, what's the best movie that you've seen?
Inner Space.
Inner Space, man.
I wanted to touch on one more thing. If you like Channing Tatum, go see Jupiter Ascending, and it'll change your mind.
What movie?
Jupiter Ascending.
Oh yeah, he was great in that movie. He's a dog.
I did see Jupiter Ascending, and that was the worst movie of all time. But I feel like Channing was duped. I feel like, and he like roller skated on the air. Oh gosh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
I did see that. Unfortunately, I've blocked it. That wasn't Channing's fault.
That movie had a lot of problems. But best movies, man, Dunkirk. I saw Dunkirk in 70 mil, and it was phenomenal. If you can't watch it in film, it's still a great movie, but I think that's how war movies should be made. Survivor stories instead of so many character pieces. Everything's a character piece these days. Baby Driver I really like, but The Witch, The Witch is a little bit, it's way out of theaters, and it's on clearance sections now, but I mean, I love that movie. I think that's one of the best horror movies that's come out in the last decade.
All right, well, cool. Well, I'm 2 for 3 on seeing those and liking them as well. Didn't see The Witch. Like I said, horror's not my genre, but anyways.
You'd love The Witch. It's more suspense than anything, truly.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll have to check that out as well. Well, Nick, we appreciate you coming on, man. Everybody, Nick helped make Devil's Candy. It was cool to watch the credits roll and see your name show up there in them as well. So everybody, it's on Netflix. It's streaming. It is kind of creepy, a little bit suspenseful, but you should definitely check that out. Nick, thanks for coming on. Don't forget our grand ticket giveaway. Next week, we're doing our bad movie of the month with Gods of Egypt. So watch it and leave a review on our Facebook page. Until then, we'll look forward to talking with you guys next week, and we'll see you here on the Ticket Stub.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.